What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How's everybody doing out there on this Tuesday, March 26, 2024, for episode 117? So yes, Dave, we already suck at keeping days in line. If you were expecting to watch us tomorrow, you're here now. So I'm happy you're here. But no, we're not going to be on Wednesday. It is a special Tuesday episode because it had to be, and you'll find out why soon. But Dave, hi. You're still
Hello.
on?
Hi, I'm here.
Do I sound better this week?
You sound a lot better this week. You finally figured things out.
I was a fucking moron last week.
That's
And
not surprising.
I decided that I didn't want to make sure that my microphone, this guy, was actually connected. And I was just going through my computer. So I'm sorry to Colton, our guest last week, and anyone that listened, because I sounded like absolute hot garbage.
Of course, you do it to Colt.
Someone do it to Colt, one of our
Someone
good
we know
friends.
very well.
But you know what, though? He understands because he knows I'm an idiot. So that helps the situation. Okay. So before we get into the fun stuff, if you're watching on X, hello, give us a retweet. Let everyone know we are here. If you're watching on YouTube, also smash that like button and let everyone know we are here as well. Spread this word of mouth because we have a great show headed for you. And you can go look for us on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. Just go search us there. Diddy do it? Look at you.
I've just been seeing that going around. That's probably my favorite little dumb thing that's come out.
You did the Vivek Ramaswamy right there with the holding up, or that Skip Bayless. Which one are you going with?
More Woody Page, but except he has in the
Woody
background.
Page. I confuse Woody Page and Skip Bayless. David, maybe
That's
all
awful.
you should have.
That's terrible.
Maybe you should do the Woody Page and just put stupid things up because you fucking refuse to decorate your background. You're absolutely useless. But
well, let's not keep our guest waiting.
we're not. So quickly, last week's show, Colton Gesser, we had our buddy on, producer from WFAN 660 and CBS Sports Radio. We talked all things football. We talked some soccer, pissed them off about the Steelers. It was a fun show. Go there, and if you can make it through me not using my mic, I apologize again. But this week, we are pumped because we have someone that I've actually been following on Twitter for a long time. She is a funny person, and we're going to find out if it's intentionally funny or not, or if it's just something that she does. It is whatever, Amy. She is a social media personality. Amy, hello. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. We are excited to have you on. And like I said, we were talking a little earlier, and I'm actually fairly surprised that you had your DMs open. Because if anybody that follows Amy, and it's funny too, because as I was putting up the promo stuff, I had a few of my friends that were like, what the hell? How'd you get her? And it's like they've seen your content on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's exciting. So if you want to go follow Amy, it's quite literally easy. Just search whatever Amy. She's one of the only ones that you'll find, and Twitter and YouTube are your main spots, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do have, OnlyFans and Loyal Fans and Playboy Centerfold, but Twitter and YouTube are like the bulk of my. I did have a huge Instagram with like 330,000 followers, but it got suspended.
How did it get suspended? How did Meta decide to ban you?
I don't know. It just said I needed to provide, my ID and credentials, and they'd review it in a day or two. And 7 months later, they said, nope, you're done.
You're not real. Amy is fake.
I'm not
a
real
person. You're not real.
You were not enough of
Yeah.
a robot for Mark Zuckerberg to actually.
And meanwhile, my page was quite chaste compared to other people. And, I see like actual nudity on there, and nope.
Well, I mean, you missed the trend because you didn't have the whole breastfeeding thing where you could just take a fake baby and obviously fake one, pull out both your tits and just be like, hi, here's boobs on Instagram. Did you see that, Dave?
What trend did I don't follow pages you do?
Don Lucroy put it up. It was Don Lucroy, the one that put it up on Instagram. And he put up a whole thing and he said, like, this needs to be stopped. I guarantee it's probably still going on now because Meta's
I'm
weird.
sure.
If you go and do hashtag breastfeeding,
I am not going to do that. I'm not going to lie to you.
Listen, you will. You won't say you'll do it now, but you will later. We know you're a freak, but you will go do it later. But yeah,
different direction. If it's not in that direction, at least.
At least it's in the proper direction. You want to see boobs, okay? So I want to get into first off. you've been on Twitter in the beginning. Now it's X. When did you get on Twitter? What year did you kind of start? Like, not necessarily.
2015, I started my account, and it was really like, I would say, yeah, the end of 2015 into 2016. I was going through a divorce, and I just kind of used it as an outlet. I always would say kind of the same stuff on Facebook or anything. And so it was just an easier way to just say my thoughts and my observations about commuting to the city, and what I was going through in my life, or things that happened to my friends that I thought were funny, or just self-deprecating. I make fun of myself the most, I guess.
And
And
that's when I found you, when you were making like funny jokes about life. And it was
yeah,
just like kind of like the everyday thing. And it was relatable. You were relatable and funny.
yeah, and I think that's kind of how people just sort of found me and stayed with me, is because for some reason my angst just was relatable to them. And I'm a little bit of a complainer, I'm a little sarcastic, I'm a little not so nice sometimes, and it either is received well or they hate my guts.
I mean, but that is the internet. That is
Yeah, it's normal.
Twitter. It's like you can't.
Luckily, it's not too often for that.
No, and so we've seen some changes in general on Twitter, right? Like initially when it got on, we had Jack Dorsey running the show. And at first, Jack Dorsey was like, yeah, free speech, awesome. This is the platform. And I think he really got a push because news sources jumped onto it, right?
Yeah.
If you tweeted something out, it was massive.
Mhm.
And also Zuckerberg was really starting to tighten up on Facebook. So like you would say things there that you couldn't say, like you would say on Twitter, and Facebook would be like, hi, you're in jail. And
Yeah,
Twitter
I'm
would
not
be
even
like,
on Facebook for years. So
yeah. Yeah. So what have you seen kind of the transition? Because it went from Dorsey, he got a little more authoritarian as he went
yeah.
behind in islands. Then Parag Agrawal for like 3 minutes was there. And then Elon brought it up. So how has that been for you as a personality, kind of trying to like skate the rules? And then
Yeah.
how has it been?
So I was shadow banned most of all of last year. And, right after, it seemed coincidentally, when he took over, and my page was not promoted. I would drop followers. I would not gain any followers. It just, I don't know. And even though I'm not shadow banned now, that is definitely affected a lot of my business. And I just kind of sat at the same amount of followers for a year and a half. And, it was kind of weird. I was used to just kind of every day having thousands more followers, and then it stopped. So it's slowly coming back, but.
So big question, Eli, what the fuck? I mean, Elon, what the fuck? What are we doing? Eli, I don't know. Eli, yeah, Book of Eli, I don't know. But Elon, what the fuck? What is going on here? Like, Amy is awesome. Why would you shadow ban her? I mean, but the thing is too, it's like, so there's a lot of people that are praising Elon as like the second coming for free speech, but he's not. But like, well, he's better. He's significantly
Yeah.
better, but we're also seeing things that are rather bizarre that he's doing. And I don't know if that has to do with some of the people he's hiring or the people that he's kept
Yeah.
on. But there's times where people point things out to him and he's like, oh, that's wrong, I'll fix that.
Right.
And there's other times where he doesn't. So do you think that it was better under the old regime? Or do you think it's better now, or kind of the same and it's kind of starting to even out? Like, what is your opinion on that?
So in terms of my personal account, it was better before. However, I do see there's a little more safety measures. There's a little more resources. Say if somebody is, saying they're going to commit suicide or hurt themselves, there's a way to, report it to Twitter, and they can get information and get help, in terms of harassment and things like that. And for the most part, I think X is doing a little bit of a better job that way. But in terms of, my account growing, it was better before.
I'm curious why that is too, because it's like because I know one of Elon's big pushes was like getting kind of like child porn and stuff off, but you're not
Right.
a porn page. Your page is just funny and everyday life and making fun of really creepy guys.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta remember, he did the huge purge of people, but he probably didn't really purge enough. I mean, what is enough exactly? How are you gonna find everyone that acts like
and
that?
millions of people are creating new accounts every single day, so you can't possibly keep up.
No, and the thing is about a lot with the bots too. So
Oh yeah.
some people got caught in the shuffle, and there's still so many bots. So So the thing is with like, I think it's weird too, right? Because X is really being promoted as this free speech platform. Do you still have to find yourself kind of censoring? And now, especially because you do use OnlyFans, loyal fans, Playboy Centerfold, like, do you have to kind of find yourself being careful on how you promote some of those things and try and escape with like that type of stuff?
I'm pretty lucky that I don't really have to do a lot of self promotion. Every once in a while, I'll be like, "Hey guys, I'm here," but I'm very lucky that my pages are still going just as strong as they were in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I also started OnlyFans with already 100,000 followers on Twitter who just kind of migrated over because they were curious about me, and I've been very lucky to maintain, you know, that sort of volume. But I do know that a lot of women and other creators, they tend not to say the words, out loud. Oh, they'll be like my spicy side or link below, because we all kind of feel like you're getting shadow banned or not promoted, or the algorithm is picking up certain, phrases and certain things, and it's causing you to kind of lose out on exposure.
Yeah, which is interesting because there are some things that have definitely opened up free speech wise on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with some things that you could actually talk about on Twitter now that won't just get you out and out banned or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that plus the monetization of tweets has kind of screwed it up a bit, where people just say random shit as long as they could make the money, and it kind of just ruins the public square part of it a little bit. So I don't know. There's a lot of pros in what Elon's done and a lot of cons in what Elon's done.
It's funny. Someone sent me a screenshot of an ad that was on one of my tweets, and he's like, "Do what about these ads on your tweets?" I'm like, "I can't see them.
No.
I have no idea what they're putting out there. It could just be all condom commercials. I don't know. I have no idea what's on my feed. So I apologize if anybody doesn't like them, but I don't have any control."
You got to start pulling like what the Krasentines do. Just like find some like random news, make up some bullshit, and then do a poll or something about it. Like try to like both sides and be annoying about whatever topic it is. And it's all for clickbait, right? So it's like maybe you got to start jumping out. Like be funny.
I'm hoping the ads on mine are like about golf and cooking or something. But I have a feeling it's not.
Probably not.
It's probably not. But I mean, but again, like that I think that's part of it's kind of shitty, right? Because if you buy into like I want to make money and monetize, you don't have control of the ads. So you could be someone that wants to portray yourself one way, but then like you don't like they should at least give you an option to be like, hey, prefer these ads, don't prefer these, like
this genre. Otherwise, I'm getting like adult diaper ads or something. So I don't know.
I mean, I saw some like gross Depends commercial the other day, and it was like on like and
they weren't power walking.
I don't know. It was some like whale, for lack of a better term. Like she was massive, and it was like
a real lack of a better term.
It's like here's the thing. Like I get it. Everyone kind of wears them, but like, and not to be totally mean, but it was like I felt bad because it's like it's trying to say like big people can't control themselves. It was only big people in it. There was no small people in the.
Maybe they were trying to advertise like there's a plus size version of.
It wasn't even saying that. It didn't say that though. If it said plus size, that would have been different. Like I usually like they'll start off with something like that, but then they'll like kind of pull like every different person, right?
Right.
To kind of show it's for everyone.
Yeah.
But I was kind of concerned. I'm like, what are they portraying here? That like. I don't know. I thought it was kind of mean.
They're portraying the average American these days.
Yeah, that's true. What were you watching? That ad came up.
My tweets. I'm telling you.
I was watching Pluto TV. Actually, it was on Pluto TV, which runs more ads than actual TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable.
That'll do it.
So I'm ready. I'm right here. Let's. Here's a nice comment here from one of your fans, Eddie Breerhoff. Hi guys, great to see you again, Amy. Queen of social media, you're the best. So look at that.
I love Eddie.
You have people that love you. You have some great fans. So we're certainly excited. So I want to jump into something else. When you started going on Twitter, did you have any intention of like becoming this like comedic personality, or like did you just want to have an outlet to say things? Like
I did. I'm exactly the same person on Twitter that I am in real life. Exactly. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know yet, but I am exactly the same. This is my humor. This is my, my complaints. And The only thing I thought was really cool, I would see these, accounts that I thought were so huge because they had the K instead of the full number. Like, I guess when you get to 10,000, you get the K next to your number. And I was like, wow, I really want to get at 10,000 because I thought that was like the biggest account. Like, you had made it.
Yep.
You had 10,000 followers. Wow. And I was like, wow, that'd be really cool if that ever happened to me. And now I look back and I'm like, wow. What happened?
Yeah.
I mean, we're still trying to get there, so do not poo-poo on our dream, okay?
I am not. I'm telling
I'll
you,
take it.
it's going to happen.
I love it.
You'll blink and you'll be like, oh wow, when did that happen?
I mean, we have awesome guests like you, so that helps out.
Aw.
If you're an Amy fan, we want to steal you. So definitely come to us. And
Yeah.
be with both of us. We can share.
We can share for sure.
We could certainly share. So what did you see that made you like, when did you start to notice, like, what were the things that you were saying that were starting to like resonate with people? Like, did you find like when you tried to be funny, it didn't work? And when you tried to like, just be yourself, it worked better? Like, what did you like? How did you kind of find the formula?
I think for me, I was commuting to Manhattan from New Jersey, and every day I didn't even get to the office yet, and something disgusting or annoying or something just caught my eye, whether it was on the train or the bus or walking to the office or like my coworkers that were irritating. Like, something would just always, it's really easy to come up with tweets when you're annoyed by everything all the time. So
yes.
maybe I just am super picky. Maybe I'm just a bitch. I don't know, but I just would find these things. And a lot of it was, people would be not so necessarily that they'd just be like, wow, you have a lot of weird stuff that happens to you. I'm like, am I just overly observant? I don't know. But it was a lot of the commuter things that, I would talk about and my work life and, just everyday things and relationship things, dating, it was just, and even things that happened with my friends, I would kind of make them my own on there. And I just kind of went with it. And then I blinked and here I am.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been like a fun ride too. Like, and I feel like
it has. It for sure has. I'm very lucky. The majority of my followers are really, really awesome. And even if I don't talk to them all the time, the support that I've gotten, the comments I get, like, people are just really awesome that follow me, and I just love them.
I think it's really interesting, especially when you were coming up on Twitter. Like, you're like blogging, but less than 280 words.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. But that's not a bad thing, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, especially back then, you didn't have a lot of characters, so you're just putting out.
You're right.
Quick.
It was like 140 back then, I think.
140. Oh man, I remember those days. But yeah, but it's basically just quick hits of things going on or whatever the hell you want to say, except for instead of these long ass threads that I refuse to.
And back in 2015, I didn't even think there was threads. I thought you had to like actually post multiple ones. I don't even think you could thread in 2015 because that was like a new feature at one point. Like, we could make threads on walls and be like MySpace style. Like,
remember the fleets?
Yes.
Oh,
you remember fleets? That was quick.
Fleets.
Remember?
It was fleeting.
Periscope was actually really cool. Periscope was really cool for a little bit.
Everyone thought that was going to take over. I remember.
I
feel like if it came out later, it would have actually taken over.
And I mean, I guess they're kind of trying to do something like right now we're on X. We are streaming on X currently. And it's a similar thing that like to Periscope. So we're on X and YouTube. Hi to everyone on both, by the way. Thank you for watching. We appreciate that. Share the show, smash the like button, go follow Amy as well at whatever Amy, because she is awesome. But
really follow us because you're probably watching for me.
Do both, okay? Go leave a nice comment for Amy too. And if you are watching this, leave us a comment. If you have a question for Amy, you can comment on either YouTube or X. She will answer and she might answer in a funny way because at a certain point we are going to start highlighting some of your all-time greatest chats that people gave to
you. Boy.
Some of the ones that you exposed because they are freaking hilarious.
And people think that those are constantly the DMs I get, and they're really few and far between. But because I post them, people are like, oh, just, again, this happened to you again. And I'm like, yeah, but, the majority of my DMs are nice people.
You're telling me that not everybody sexually harasses you on your
No, everyone's like, how many dick pics do you get a day? And I'm like, honestly, not that many. Like, people are pretty respectful, or, they'll ask.
Are any of them decent? The ones that send it, like, are they at least sending you something to work with? Like, or are they sitting there and just hoping that
there's like nice cinematography?
Yeah, like
set up like it's on a mountainside.
Black and white.
Like, yeah, they're sending it to you like noir, like trying to make it like maybe like the Adam and Eve thing, going like.
I think the ones that that's their opening line. They don't even say hello. Those are the ones that you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, give them credit, I guess. I mean, like they're probably going from like Omegle or Chatterbait right to you. So like,
I don't even know.
Might as well just be here. Like,
I'm like, that's your opening line? That's the best you could do?
Like, at least say hi and then send it to me. Like, at least introduce yourself.
Something. Lube it up first. Like,
buy me.
Take me to dinner.
Exactly. Like, try. Chivalry isn't dead. I swear. So what have been the pros and cons of being someone like that now? Like, you are basically a famous Twitter personality, like X personality. Like, also, do you call it X yet, or do you still just call it Twitter?
I'm kind of like going back and forth, but it's always going to be Twitter to me.
It's Twix. I'm calling it Twix.
Yes.
I'm taking that from Phil Labonte from Tim Cash.
That's funny.
And all that means he calls it Twix, and I love it. So, but what have some of the pros and cons been like that you have experienced? Like, because now, like, you know, you're not someone who's afraid to expose your face. They're obviously on YouTube, so, and you have a recognizable face. So it's like, what has it been? Have you been noticed? Has it affected like your personal life? Like, how's that been?
I have only been recognized probably 3 times in all these year out in public. Probably because
cool?
I look like a crazy lunatic at the grocery store. You know, but I was recognized once at a golf outing years ago, once in Atlantic City, and like once in, I don't even remember where, once in a bar. And that's it.
Was he trying to pick you up with some dick pics at that bar? Is that
no? Everyone was like, "Hey, I'm a fan. It's so nice to see you," and kept it quick and respectful and moved on. Yeah, everyone was really, really cool. But I was more honored, like, "Oh my God, you know who I am? Are you mistaking me for someone else?"
So what have been some of the cons that you've experienced, you know, after like gaining some popularity and things like that?
I think people don't realize, they expect, you know, I do keep my DMs open. But if I don't answer immediately, some people get really like annoyed, and you can literally see, it'll say seen under the message when I have seen the message. So, I mean, give it a minute. Like, you know, I'm on there a lot, but I do, you know, have other stuff to do. So at least wait and see if I've seen the message.
Have you gotten any pushback from anyone when you created your OnlyFans and things like that? Like, did you get negative comments and things like that?
I remember one person that followed me for a long time messaged me on the side that I was, you know, had a kind of friendly DM, you know, messaging back and forth. And he was like, "I'm really disappointed that you stooped to that level to have an OnlyFans." And, you know, I said, obviously you really don't know me that well, because I've always been a super sexual person. I've always, you know, been curious and open. And that's a huge part of my life, is my sexual life, and sharing myself is really fun. And I was like, you know what? I just made $100,000 in a week. I really don't care what your unsolicited advice is.
And then when you offered him like a free month subscription, he was like, "Absolutely, I'm definitely gonna go and take all."
He didn't get a freebie. He never spoke to me ever again after that.
Honestly, go back in your DMs and offer it to him and see what he says. He'll just be like, "You're a sinner."
That was so many years ago. I don't even remember who he was.
And you know, and that's like unfortunate, right? Because it's like, you know, whatever opinion you have of that, if you're a legit human that like believes in like American shit, like, just let people do what they want, as long as like my line is like, don't fuck with kids. If you don't mess with kids, I honestly don't care what you do as an adult. Like, you know, as long as you're not soliciting the kids or mess with kids, cool, you're good. Like, you could do whatever the hell you want. Like, and I feel like that's the way, like, if you're not that way, then it's a you problem, right? It's not like,
yeah. And, you know, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I don't love everyone either, but I don't seek out someone to, you know, insult, or like, if you come for me, I'll defend myself. But if I don't like something that I read, I just move on. I don't engage
Walk away
like that.
from
I
it.
see no reason for it. And I also see that people can have differing opinions.
Yeah.
And someone may have different humor than I do. And it's just, okay, I really didn't like that. I can either unfollow them, I could scroll through. Half the time, a lot of the people on my feed now are people that I don't follow.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big change too. I see less of my followers stuff.
I hate the For You. Like, honestly,
And
that might be my least favorite thing that X did, where you always go back to the For You tab and it's like the AI algorithm, and I'll find myself sitting there and scrolling like, who the fuck are these people? And I'm like, oh, it's my For You. I have lists for a reason. Let me go back to those. Like, I do dislike.
I don't have any lists.
You should make some. It honestly, it helps.
I'm on a few interesting lists, but I don't have any myself.
You're on my list, and it's like the tax list, the Alex Cuesta show list, and there's like honestly like 700 people on that list, because like out of the millions of users, I don't want to see everybody's shit. So I hope I offended some people, because I put some people on some lists that I don't think they'd find very nice, and it's okay though. I hope that they are upset by the list, because it was intentional. Not sorry. So I do have to ask, without disclosing too much, what part of Jersey are you from? Because David and I are both Jersey boys as well.
I'm from the shore.
Oh, so are we. We're from Manchester.
Wow.
We're Manchester Township.
Okay. Not far. Not
you don't
far.
have to disclose where you're from.
Yeah. I don't live there now, but
we'll talk later.
Live there now, but yeah.
But that's awesome. Yeah. So that's so funny. So that's why we get along.
I was lifeguard for many, many years, and we
lived on J Street and Island Beach State Park and everything over at Seaside. So we're all from the same stomping grounds. That's awesome. I had no idea that you were a shore.
Yeah. I always laugh because people, back when Jersey Shore was, really going strong, and they'd message me or meet me or whatever, and they were like, oh, what do you think of the Jersey Shore show? And I'm like, I like the show. It's an accurate depiction of the club life in the summers there. I said, but none of those people are from the Jersey Shore.
Exactly.
The only one, Sammy was from Manalapan. So Sammy was like,
he was from Hazlitt.
Or Hazlitt, one of those. Yeah.
And
like closest, I think.
The other guy,
not
Mike Sorrentino, he was from Manalapan.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So they were like the ones that at least could claim like, okay, it's not.
They were actually from New Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah. But like, I live in Poughkeepsie now. Snooki is from Highland, right? She's not from Poughkeepsie. I want to correct that rapper. They're called Poughkeepsie Princess. That bitch ain't from Poughkeepsie. She's from Highland, which is across the bridge. But I don't know if they still live there. JWoww and Snooki bought their house in Manchester, our town. Like when they did Snooki and JWoww.
Oh yeah.
In Manchester.
No, I think she lives like in Bergen County, because that's where her husband's from.
And that makes sense. Whatever his name is.
Yep.
But yeah, whatchamacallit. So Dave, guess what? Our buddy Calvin's watching. He said you want you to get more involved.
I saw. I see.
So
I can see everything.
Oh, he's just saying some things. Oh, Jesus. but yeah, so it's funny. It's a small world.
Yep.
So I want to jump into something that is kind of culturally relevant here. Did you watch the documentary Quiet on the Set at all yet?
I have not watched it yet. It's on my list. I do know of the rumblings that are going on and kind of this phenomena of watching this documentary. And from what I hear is pretty shocking. I mean, maybe shocking to the outside world, but I think in that industry, it's not shocking, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know.
Dave, did you watch it at all, or are you just doing your thing that because everybody else is watching it, you're not?
No, that's not the reason I'm not watching.
We didn't do very good research before coming on.
I watched Nickelodeon while I was a kid. I saw all the weird shit Dan Schneider did already when I was growing up. I don't need to watch it again. I already know.
David watched.
I only watched Double Dare.
So I watched Double Dare, and Mark Summers was on there for like a hot second saying he didn't know anything, which I don't want to, Mark, don't get mad at me. I think you're full of shit because you were at that studio. There's no way you didn't know. You didn't see some creepy shit going on. Okay.
I'm going to ask someone to not get mad at you.
Because that's like all the Hollywood people denying they knew shit about Weinstein. Okay. Like they're like, you work in the same studio, you cross by the same people. Like
there's always whispers. There's always somebody walks in or sees something and backs up.
I will say there is a bit of a difference though between just working at the studio and people actively praising Weinstein, probably knowing because like there's a bit of a difference between those two types of people there.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that he like walked in and didn't stop something, but like Amy said, there's definitely there was some smoke there that everyone chose to ignore, type of thing. So basically the premise is, and I think everyone knows we're Quiet on the Set, but if you don't, it is a 4 episode documentary, which apparently they're releasing a 5th episode next week.
Oh boy.
But it is a 4 episode documentary basically about the physical, mental, and also sexual abuses that went on during like the heyday of Nickelodeon, where starts off with all that. And these are all Dan Schneider led projects, all that. Amanda Bynes Show, Drake and Josh, Victoria, Sam and Cat, all like the big shows that got Dan Schneider, Nickelodeon on the map. And it basically just goes over how much of a monster Dan Schneider is. And the one thing I do have to say, though, there are rumors circulating that Dan Schneider raped Amanda Bynes, got her pregnant at 13. That was not in the documentary. That is separate. That other people are researching. Maybe episode 5 might talk about it. But, just for clarity, if anyone's looking on there and has seen memes and thinks that that's going to be in there, that's not. But there's a lot of other disturbing shit.
And I think, too, you look at how these child actors grew up and how they are in their adult lives now. And this is not even just Nickelodeon, 80s kids age. Look at, the girl from Different Strokes who ended up, taking her life. And Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, all of these childhood actors that are really struggling, in their adult lives. And you kind of think back like something similar may have gone on. Absolutely. And I know a lot of people say it's, the overworking by their parents and stealing their money, but you have to kind of think there's other things going on too.
Yeah, it's like you're the whole adage of like, oh, they couldn't really take the Hollywood pressure. It's like maybe they couldn't take the fact that stuff happened to them when they were kids.
Right, and they, everything was hush hush, and and that's, I'm sure, very, very difficult to process and hold on to.
It certainly is. And also, like, as I'm watching it more, it's like, do we need child actors? Do we really need them? Are they honestly like necessary? And if so, they should be people that are like the children of the actors or actresses, or people that work in the studios that can be there physically active all the time watching their children. Because the thing that you'll see in the documentary, and if anybody's watching it, this isn't too much of a spoiler that hasn't watched it, but a lot of the parents were also saying like, this was our first time being in the industry as well. We did not know how any of this worked. We had some red flags, but our kids had an opportunity here. We thought they were making good money. They wanted to be actors and actresses. And we just thought like, we were asked to leave because there were some secret things they needed to do.
Right.
Looking at it from the outside looking in, anyone's easy to say, well, they're terrible parents. They should have known. And you'll see a lot of them saying like, hey, we had some hints, but we didn't know. And we were assured by people that we gained relationships with and trusted. And they told, and so it's like, all of us have gotten duped before by things. Anyone that says they haven't, and all of us have. So it's like kind of try to take a step back from judgment when you watch this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like after watching this, I'd never put either of my daughters in show business. Like maybe theater, because that's something I could be there for. I'm watching them all on set, right? Like they're right in front of you. But I don't know if I'd ever bring them to Hollywood, especially after all the things that we're finding out, the Weinstein stuff.
Yeah, but also, it was 10, 20 years ago. There's so many more, not to say that it's perfect, but I think that there's a lot more protection, labor laws, a lot of things in place now for childhood actors. And I don't know if they're, 100% adhered to and who's doing the quality assurance on them and the checks and balances, but I know it's a lot different time than this Nickelodeon years.
It certainly is. And they did say that, Disney, as of now, maybe episode 5, again, I don't know what's going to show, but Disney was pretty much above board with a lot of this stuff, that like their shows with Hannah Montana and things like that, when they were competing, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody and things like that, like they were pretty much like, and you could see it in the shows. They were not as sexually explicit with some things and making a ton of feet jokes or cum shot jokes, which you'll see was like rampant on these Nickelodeon shows, where they were like, have Jamie Lynn Spears get goob on her face. And it was obviously a cum shot joke, but it's like, and you had like, they said like the guys watching the camera would be like, haha, cum shot. Like the adults knew exactly what they were doing. And it's like, and you're watching a 13-year-old girl have this happen. Like they're all disgusting. And David, honestly, I know some people get mad at Lotus Eaters, but I'm saying it, wood chipper for all these people. Honestly, if you were participating in that, wood chipper. Like there is no like I don't do pedophilia. I don't do any of that type of stuff. None of that stuff flies with me. You're the worst of the worst. Like it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty hard line stance you got there. That's a hot take. I don't know if it's gonna
Not
fly.
really sure what you mean.
I mean, in this day and age, when they're trying to call pedophiles maps, minorly attracted persons, that is a pretty hard line stance. Okay, that I'm not, saying that love is love and adults can love kids explicitly. Like, no, fuck you, people. You cannot.
No.
So
big no.
We saw today or yesterday the whole entire P. Diddy stuff go down. I don't know if he's in custody. Does anyone know? Did they get him in custody? I think he's on an island still. I think they confirmed he did go away on a jet.
I think saw something about him being held up at the airport.
I thought he was at the airport in LA or something.
I don't know. I didn't get it's been foggy. Like there's been some things coming out. All we do know is that he had his residencies raided by the FBI. 50 Cent came out and was like, Diddy didn't do it. Diddy done it. Like they don't come at you unless they have something like this. So here's a question for you guys. I've been pissed that, and after watching Quiet on the Set, I'm like, we're mad about this, but people still aren't ranting for the Epstein quiet list, right? Like it is way too quiet about the Epstein client list. Maybe the government is working behind. Maybe Diddy was on that list. And this is the government kind of reading their way through the list and trying to.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe. I thought about that. Like Dave, Amy.
I don't know about that.
David has no faith in our government. Amy, what do you think?
Something. I mean, I would like to think that the FBI is not turning over someone's house without some concrete evidence. However, we have, seen mistakes happen before.
That's
so
putting it nicely.
I think, I don't even know what to think. I'm so this. He was so far off my radar for any. I haven't seen anything from this guy in 10 years. All of a sudden, he didn't change his name again. He's still P. Diddy. Are we sure?
Good point.
You could have had anybody, and I would have been oh, that makes more sense. And that guy, I'm like, what is going on? But we still don't even really know what the charges are or what they were investigating for. So it could be anything. We're, people are assuming it has to do with Epstein or something, like that. It could be drug related, gun related. He could be embezzling. He could, it could be any crime.
Especially with all the businesses he's in.
Yeah.
You never know. And, I don't wish that on anyone, but I'm interested to see exactly what's happening because they're being very hush hush about it.
Yeah, and I do think they have some sort of lead that led to them raiding the homes. But my only thing is that I don't know. It just the more and more that comes out, it seems like another one of those open secret things in the music business. It is just stuff that kind of happens, and you kind of have to. They're just going to do it to people that they want to guarantee them a spot, but you got to join this fucking freak off. It's what they're called. It's what they're.
Is that a circle jerk? What is that?
It's basically just a power play where they do whatever. They have some stuff done to you.
That is, for the record, that is not where I got my name. That is not it.
So we also saw the video, I think, of a comedian circulating around saying he was coming up at the same time as Matt Rife and or Rife. I don't know how the hell
I don't know.
I think it's Rife.
Rife?
Rife. The same time as him, and they both these big executives thing, and they were like,
he insinuated there was a Harvey Weinstein moment.
He's like, you gotta blow us, and he said that Matt Rife was on his knees before he could leave, and he was like, I'm not doing that, and he flat out said his name and insinuated that he was giving blowjobs to get famous.
To be fair, it's just an allegation.
I'm just saying, but there's a lot of this type of crazy stuff coming out, and some of the things that Diddy was coming up with him outside of him running shirtless after Usher, which was a weird picture that came out a little bit ago, right after the Super Bowl. They were both sweaty as all hell, which was bizarre. But there were also a lot of rumblings of lawsuits for former, females, especially that were under the bad boy label, basically saying that hey, we were drugged and gang raped. We were, these things went on in the studio and I was sex trafficked. And I think that's where people are drawing these kind of conclusions that it's kind of all coming full circle against.
And I think people don't realize that, all of these old rape and sexual abuse cases that were never ever spoken about are coming out now because they lifted the statute of limitations on reporting and facing charges for crimes that happened years ago. So that's also a big reason why we're seeing such a huge jump in these cases coming out that were put away for years, and people aren't afraid to say it because now the statute of limitations, you can face your abuser.
I mean, that absolutely makes sense. So I want to bring up some of the comments here. So Sam Banks over here, he said, I mean, Drake Bell got popped for pedo stuff and it's quickly glossed over in the doc. And you're correct. They don't bring it up much, but I will say this. Drake Bell in the documentary flat out admits to it. It's not like he tries to hide it. When they bring it up, they talk about it. They don't go crazy into it, but he flat out says like, hey, I was wrong. I did something wrong. And I admitted to it. I pled guilty. So, I agree they glossed over it, and they do try to make Drake Bell look extremely sympathetic in the show, and his story is absolutely terrible. But yeah, so they don't make a big deal about it, but I do think that it made it much easier that he was like, hey, yeah, I did it. Like I did it. I'm wrong. And also at the same time, there is always the whole entire, those that get abused are the ones that continue the cycle, right? That is a very well-known,
unfortunately,
psychological thing. So I want to bring this up. So our buddy Calvin Zawacki over here, I guess about that comedian, he came out and he said his videos are satire and that his shtick is satirical comedy. So that, I mean, maybe
that's
Matt,
like the umbrella policy. It's satirical comedy.
And I guess that's kind of the CYA too, when Matt Rife is a absolute hundreds millionaire now, and you're going to get sued to high heaven. So you got to come out and say it's satirical comedy. So I guess our analysis was satirical analysis. Matt, don't come after us. You're really funny. And I also want to bring up over here, John Ware Jr. over here, David. I think this one is to you.
Yes.
Freak calls involved allegedly dark male SWs engaging in the nasty with his girlfriend Cassie and her wearing white fingernail polish. Dave, did you know anything about this one?
I don't know. I don't know the specifics of it, but you're probably correct. Like I said, I didn't really necessarily read the lawsuit. I heard a little bit about it, so you're probably more correct than I am.
He insisted she wear white nail polish?
Most likely, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of this is power shit, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, you got to wear this.
Well, I mean, didn't Cat Williams say some stuff about this too? Like they were trying to make him do gay shit, and he told him to go away. Like, and then Cat Williams, man, like they're trying to make him do gay shit, and I told him to fuck, like, because he's Cat Williams. But so it's like there's a lot more of this stuff coming out, right? You're seeing a lot of rappers going on podcasts, and you saw Ryan Garcia go insane.
Well, Ryan Garcia is, I don't know about that
on one. Andrew Tate's thing, saying like he's gonna expose. I don't know.
I don't know about
Ryan. Come out from it yet?
No, but he's going a little too crazy.
Yeah, that one was a little bizarre. And like Andrew Tate, like for Andrew Tate to be like, dude, you might want to relax. If Andrew Tate's telling you to chill, then maybe you should chill. But so Amy, what are, in having some sort of like level of fame, have you gotten any hints of anything like this from like, hey, you want to continue to be Twitter famous? Like anything like that coming into this world?
No. And honestly, I don't consider Twitter famous as famous. And to be honest, I don't really consider myself to be any type of famous. There's way bigger accounts than mine, way bigger. I'm grateful and shocked that I have as many followers as I do. But I just don't see it.
I mean, but I feel like that's a lot of people that are still people, right? Like you're not someone that is like obviously like fed into it, right? Like, and it hasn't, I don't know you in your personal life, but it doesn't seem like you're someone that's like, once you get off screen here, you're going to turn to like someone that's your servant and be like, they made me wait so long. Imagine the breadth of these people. Like, you don't seem like that person. You seem like you're someone.
No, I'm pretty easygoing. And, even though I'm annoyed by everything, but most things within reason, like I try not to, and I think I do a pretty good job of not letting too many things get under my skin. And I think when you put yourself out there, you have to expect not everyone's going to love you, and you have to have a little bit of a thick skin.
Yep.
But like I said before, I'm super lucky that for the most part, the majority of people are really, really cool.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a lot of people, especially we have on this show, talk about the cons of what the internet's done to people and social media has done to people. But one of the big pros is the fact that you get to build not only a following, but people that you can enjoy actually talking to, and people that you could actually like have hobbies with, and you find out someone likes this thing. Oh, so I can actually talk to them.
There
about
are
this thing.
so many clever,
Yeah.
funny people.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate we talked about the algorithm and the changes that have gone in the timeline. And I don't see all of the people that I started off following that were so funny. And every once in a while they'll pop up somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, I remember you. And it's great to see them still going. But I'm amazed sometimes. I read some of these posts and I'm like, that's really funny. Like, wow. Some people are just really clever and really insightful. And I'm very much impressed with what I see a lot of times.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing where like while it brings out a lot of darkness of humanity, there's obvious goodness. And you don't really have to look far. You could find a lot of talent.
Then I see some things that I'm like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
you when you're in the public square that is Twitter, you'll get both, right? You'll get like the clever, the funny, the good natured, and then you'll get like the absolute disgusting humans. Like it's an absolute cesspool. It's not Reddit, it's not 4chan, but it's fairly close at times. Like it's not as unfiltered as those, but it can get there. So I'm gonna put you on the spot, Amy.
Okay.
What are some of the top 5 things that annoy you and why?
I don't think we have enough time. What are some of my pet peeves? I just think overall, poor manners. I think there's an element of decorum and etiquette in any certain situation. And when people just blatantly, are rude for no reason, that's kind of annoying. My biggest one is people who drive in the slow lane. And unfortunately, and don't hate me, New York, it's always a New York license plate.
Yep.
Like, do they teach them in their driving schools that the left lane is just for, lollygagging or not even going the speed limit? I don't understand.
I'm a driving instructor in New York now, and I do.
I think you need to do a better job.
I'm working on it. Okay, listen, I can only see so many kids at a time. All right,
keep them out of the left lane and keep them out of New Jersey while we're at it.
I do tell them they're bennies, and I do tell them not to go back to my home. Like I am actively trying to save New Jersey, but I don't know if we can save New Jersey. New Jersey's pretty.
So obviously what a Benny is. Do you know what the Bennies in Atlantic City were called and why?
No, tell us why.
So they're called shoebies.
Oh, I've heard that from
I've heard that term.
On the show Rocket Power.
Because back in the day, back in Atlantic City's heyday in the early 1900s, you could tell who wasn't a local because they would have their lunch in a shoebox. So the locals started calling them shoebies, like we call them bennies.
Yeah,
that's
pretty sweet.
You're welcome.
You get to learn something new. Perfect.
Which was a great cartoon. Shoebies were people that wore socks and sandals at the same time. So I think they both fit pretty well. I like it.
I think that was my Italian grandpa too, but he definitely loved that.
Got to keep the feet warm while they're warm. That's just how it's gotta.
It's like warmth and ventilation.
Yep.
All right. So here's a question for you from Eddie Brehoff. Amy, regarding your platforms, are Saturday speeches and Q&A on OnlyFans coming back?
Yes, sort of. So I would get questions all the time on Twitter, just about my life in general and what I liked and what music I was listening to, or, my favorite football team. So I started these, Saturday speeches, and I would film myself answering, 2 or 3 of them. And, I did them for a long time. And then I got on YouTube and I started doing them there to kind of drive traffic there.
Yeah.
And I would put them on my Instagram too. And then I do topless Q&A on my subsites, which I do here and there. I did one not that long ago, but the same idea. Just my huge knockers are prominent, but
you don't want them to look at your eyes. You want them to look at your tits. Like don't look at my tits. Like don't. I love those shirts. It's like, what are you looking at my eyes for? I have huge tits.
Right. But people just ask me really cool questions, and and I always had fun answering them, and I kind of got lazy with it. Like YouTube, I have to say I'm the laziest YouTuber ever to be on YouTube, and I still don't know how I even have that many followers. I wasn't even paying attention, and all of a sudden I got the notice like I was being monetized. I'm like, wait, don't you have to have 10,000 followers and like X amount of views? And I like opened up my YouTube and I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even notice. So the fact that I've got over 200,000 and I'm just kind of like reviewing products and gross treats from other countries and just doing all sorts of like odds and ends, cooking.
Yeah.
But I'm super lazy about YouTube.
Your comment right there would probably piss so many YouTubers off.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
You know what though? I will say this: being good at social media is not that easy. Like, and if you have to be, I don't understand how people like you have to have money. I feel like to start doing it. Because you just got to sit at home and just absolutely just do fucking social media all the time, or be willing to get fired from your job. Because when you actually have a job, it is really hard. Like I sit there and I'll like open my Twitter and I'll see like people that have like made like 9,000 tweets, and I'm just like, how though? Like
you're lucky you get one every other day from me.
You're lucky I post our show. Like you're lucky that happens. Like David doesn't help me at all. That's
no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. My YouTube is like once every other month, if maybe. People are like, where have you been? We thought you died. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Go to my OnlyFans, damn it.
Go to my Twitter.
Go to my loyal fans, my OnlyFans. Go to Twitter. Go somewhere else, not YouTube. Oh man, so I want to go and scroll through your Twitter now because I want to get some of these highlights of some of these comments.
I'm scared now.
People have made to you.
I'm always interested to see, not interested, but shocked to see.
So here we go. Ponytail hair pictures, zebras. Ponytail hair pictures, for dogs. You ain't okay. You're not just spouting random words at each other. That one was good. Let's continue to go.
Now these are always ones from people that don't follow me,
you gotta be careful,
and I've never spoken to ever before. These are not people that I've ever interacted with.
Is that a dick pic right there?
Yes.
What do you think it is?
Listen, I have to get the confirmation. Okay.
I had to cover his nuts.
Wrong with you? Last time I checked, whoa, that one was aggressive. Oh my God. These are so right here. Like if you really wanted to,
hold up.
Like obviously, what's up, Dave?
I got one.
Oh, you got one?
Looking earlier, yeah.
Okay, I'll let you share. We were just prying into Amy's life right now.
No. It's one specifically because I just found it funny.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Dave, don't hold up the stream much longer.
I got it right here. I'm sharing right now. You just gotta let me. Love the OF page. Do you meet? Thank you. I don't. Very nice. Go Navy. that fucking killed me. Go Navy right in the middle. Like, thanks, man. Cool.
Like,
yep.
So when you get these, do you just laugh? Or do you kind of, are you offended by some? Because I don't feel like you're a person that's offended very easily.
I'm not offended easily. I am surprised. Mostly when someone is so mean and rude and they're never are a follower. It's always someone who doesn't follow me. And I'm like, who acts this way to a total stranger that is just having fun? Like why? I don't understand like why someone would be like that. Like what's fun about that? I don't know if they do it to get a rise out of me or, I don't know. I just would never behave that way towards someone.
And yeah. And like I said, I don't know where, and I think it's like an obvious thing that we've seen throughout all internet, right? People get really brave when they're behind a keyboard, when there's no accountability.
Absolutely.
And like the worst I can get back is maybe some words. Like, and I think you do it in a good way because you're not necessarily mean. You're just like kind of like, what's your dysfunction? Like you're not like super mean. Yeah. And I think that gets them like even more angry. And I think it's bizarre. Like it's the ones that don't follow you, right? Like your followers.
It's always ones that don't follow me and don't know my humor, don't understand my sarcasm, and I'm always interested. I always find it funny, the tweets that really get people angry. And there's only been less than a handful over the years that have really irked people to the point where they were like, they went nuts over it. So, and I'm just like, really, of all the shitty tweets that I've done in the past 10 years, that's the one that is setting you off? Like
one that do you have anyone on top of your head that you can think of?
I tweeted something years ago. I said, sorry, your husband wears his cell phone on his belt. I got killed for that. Killed. I was like, I'm surprised I wasn't shut down. Like, people went nuts over it. I was like, oh my God.
So I do have to share this one. This one might be my last one. This one might be one of my favorites. It is the person says, I hope your day is great. Thanks, you too, Amy. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Goodbye. Like, the fuck?
Or the ones that like say hello and then 30 seconds later they block me. I'm like, I was asleep.
You are not allowed to sleep. What is wrong with you? You're not allowed to be a person and do things that normal people do.
No.
Oh my God. So I honestly, I don't envy you, because I feel like, the good with the bad, and some of the bad is just creepy, ridiculous things. So before we jump out of here, my buddy Calvin wanted me to ask you, do you believe in aliens? Do you like aliens?
I'm undecided on this. I'm very curious about it, but I don't usually watch movies with aliens. Like, I really only watch movies that I know could actually happen, and I'm on the fence about aliens. So I'm not going to say yes or no. I definitely have not shut the door on it. I'm still curious, and I'd love to like see what people's, evidence or their things that have happened. I don't really pay too much attention to it, but I'm not opposed to the idea. But I'm still very much on the fence about it.
You're telling me those aliens they found in Mexico, that didn't flip you to the side of definitely they're real? Like,
so you're not one of those people that's going to go to the top of the building with like signs like welcome?
No. And like the whole zombie thing, like, I'm not into that either.
You're not into that?
No.
I mean, David would volunteer to be probed.
I just lost 100,000 followers probably.
Maybe. But David would definitely be probed. He's already undergoing a transition. So
I probably already have been probed and I just didn't know about it.
That would explain a lot about you if you've already been probed.
You took my whole non sequitur segment. I can't believe you.
You can bring out another. Well, that blame Calvin. That was Calvin's fault.
Yeah, that is fucking Calvin.
That is Calvin. So Dave, you bring your non sequitur in. Amy, be ready for something here.
It's nothing crazy. It's mainly
ready.
I saw Dune 2 recently, so I wanted to ask, have you seen a recent movie? And if you have, was it any good or any good recent movies you've seen?
So you're gonna be really. So when I was living in New York years ago, it was during the whole bed bug thing where all these luxury department stores and the movie theaters were getting bed bugs. Mm-hmm. So I did not go to the movies for years. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I was living in New York probably like 2009, 2010. I did not go to the movies until Top Gun 2 came out.
Hey, that's a good movie to go back for, though.
Now, Top Gun is one of my absolute favorite movies ever in the whole world. Mm-hmm. And so when that one came out, I'm like, I'm going to the movies. But I had not been to the movies in all those years.
Maverick or Goose? Who's your boy?
Mav. Actually, Iceman was my...
Iceman, okay.
I loved him in the first one, yeah.
I mean, I don't... The last movie we went to see was a kid's movie with my daughters. Like, me and my wife, we used to go to the movies like every week.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, like, and even like with kids or whatever, like we would go try to see a movie. Mm-hmm. And then COVID hit. And I think what the problem is, like, I didn't give a shit about COVID while it was going on. I wasn't one of those people. Like, I made fun of people with masks. Like, I was that dickhead. But, I think it's less like I don't care about the COVID side of it, but now it's the prices, right? Like, the tickets have all gone up. Concessions were always expensive, but now they're worse. Mm-hmm. And then also you get to some of these movie theaters, and because everything's more expensive, they're not paying the kids as much, or they are paying them too much. And then the theaters are shit. They're not
terrible service.
Terrible service. So it's like everything overall about the movie theater experience has gone worse. And I feel like your mom and pop theaters are doing better now, because not your big Regal or your Sony.
Yeah.
If you have any of like your mom and pop ones, this is their livelihood.
The AMC and
Mm-hmm. So their prices are always a little bit higher. So the mom and pop ones. So they're kind of at the median now, and they're going to provide you better service because they need you, and they know the time. Like, we have right in our area right here, we have the Roosevelt, and the Roosevelt used to be like, you go there for sticky floors. Like, you knew it was sticky. It was fucking gross.
There was smoking in there.
Like, basically, like, it had like your aunt, like with the Virginia Slims, like, hey,
and she took all the candy in her purse.
Yeah.
That's part of the joy as a kid, is getting something out of the candy counter. And then my mom would be like, no, I brought Fruit Loops in a sandwich bag. That's what you're going to eat.
Or the whole entire, if you went to the mall, like you would always go to the little kiosk at the mall, buy up the stuff there because it was too expensive to buy it at the theater. But you just got like popcorn was the only thing. Like you were only allowed to get the popcorn, a little bit of butter. Oh, speaking of a fun story, Dave, I want to tell the story about our father going to the movies on Matrix 2. Remember the Matrix 2 story?
I think so.
So Matrix 2 came out. I was in middle school. David was just alive, kind of barely walking. But David, you were young. But so my father takes me and my friend and David with us. And I don't know if anyone remembers Matrix 2. There's like a partial sex scene. Like you kind of see Trinity's ass.
So I was 7 years old.
You're lucky I saw Matrix 1.
It was you're missing out, young lady. But you kind of saw
2 and 3 aren't great when you look back.
I did see the Matrix, but I think it really freaked me out.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was, I think, too many drugs that I did in my 20s, and I was like, I don't know, that's too close.
But you kind of saw like Trinity's ass, and so my dad's going. He's buying the tickets, and it's this high school kid that is selling them, and the girl's like, "Sir, you know your son there's a little young, and there's some nudity." And my dad takes the tickets, goes, "He knows more about sex than I do," and like just keeps it moving. and that's where you get David and I from.
That is very fitting.
Yes, it is fitting, and makes sense why this show is the.
Was that the first movie you went to? What was your first movie you went to in the theater?
Oh, David,
I don't fucking know. I have no idea.
I actually don't know. That's probably more of a question from my mom and dad.
Yeah, honestly.
To answer like the first solo movie I went to with like just like friends, man, might have been what was that? Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Oh, Kung Pao!
I think that was like my first, like one of the first, like if not the first, one of the first movies that I went to.
What a movie to do it for!
Wow,
Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
My first movie when I was a kid was E.T.
And that's why you have your fear of aliens. That's
how old I am.
So much, because I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, it's creepy as shit when E.T.'s running through the grass. Those noises he makes, like, are, I guess, alien. But the fact that he's like being like it's so like, I don't know, that freaked me out.
It was either E.T. or Annie because they came out around the same time. So I saw both of them in the movies, and that's how old I am.
So one helped your worldview, the other terrified you about aliens. Okay,
exactly.
David, do you remember?
No, not at all. Not even close. I don't.
Who remember. Was your first concert that you went to?
My first concert was a battle of the bands over at Blackbeard's Cave over in, what was Blackbeard's Cave in Brick?
It's in Tom's River. Have you driven past there lately?
No, I'm in Poughkeepsie now. David's in West Virginia.
It looks like an abandoned.
I'm not surprised.
Grown over. It's actually sad.
Yeah. It was dying by the time I was getting out of high school.
Yeah.
That was a place to be back then, though, when I was.
Yes.
Yeah, same with us. Like, they had Battle of the Bands there all the time, which it's funny because now, again, I'm a driving instructor. I talk to 16-year-olds all the time, and rock is slowly starting to come back into the scene. Like, a lot more kids are liking it because that's, our generation that are parenting, right? And we liked metal and pop punk and things like that and punk rock. So, and they were surprised. I'm like, there were these things called Battle of the Bands, kids, where your friends had bands and you would go support your friends. Yep. And then you got the opportunity to see a bunch of other pretty damn good bands all competing. And I remembered we went to go see my sister's friend, Big Mike, his band, mid-December. That was one of my first shows over at Blackbeard's Cave. They did a Battle of the Bands.
That's so funny. We used to go to the Battle of the Bands at the Stone Pony.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah.
Way back.
I think my first, where I really went, like without family, because I think like I went one time with like mom and then with the Bon Jovi, but without family, I went to Fall Out Boy at PNC.
Oh,
that was only a few years ago, but you did Incubus.
No, I've been to Fall Out Boy multiple times. Incubus is with you guys though. I'm saying without.
I guess that kind of counts though, because it was like the Incubus wasn't with Adele and stuff. It was with me and Christina and things like that.
My first concert was, I think, in 1985. It was Whitney Houston. Back when it was the Garden State Arts Center. Now it's PNC.
Yeah, now it's PNC.
Wow.
Yep.
I wasn't born yet, Amy.
Yeah, I'm really old. I'm like ancient. I bought Girl Scout cookies the other day, and there were, I don't know, there was $6 a box. And I'm like, oh, do you know how much they cost when I was a Girl Scout? And I told her, and she was like, wow, were you the first Girl Scout ever? And I was like, you know what? I want a fucking refund. Like, what a little brat.
I mean, kids say the darndest things.
Meanwhile, I was older than her mother, so I mean,
I do. Well, I feel like on one hand, you kind of want a refund, and another hand, it's like that's a good fucking tweet.
I'm not giving up the cookies. Yeah, I need them.
And you know what? Like, so my daughter's a Daisy now. She's 6, so she's a Girl Scout. And I remember sitting there and like, my wife just went and sold Girl Scout cookies, and she was like, I'm almost apologizing to some people. Like, $6 is bullshit. And she also said what's annoying is the change, because you have to give away too many singles and they didn't have enough. So I was a pet peeve. Make it even, Girl Scouts. Like, either jump
the Girl Scouts need to
keep
have
it at
Venmo.
5.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
They
need to have Venmo.
They do have an app. If you could pay with your card through the app.
So, I do like too that now you can, if you know, I'm on a perpetual diet my whole life, so I don't always want the cookies, and you can donate them to the troops, which is a nice feature. I usually end up doing both, but that's a nice option.
It is a solid option, but I think we need to make a change to the Girl Scouts, because I said to my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna force this troop leader to like take them outside and go teach them how to start fires and shit, because like they just learn how to tie-dye shirts and like do crafts.
What if they don't want to start fires? They're having fun. Don't make them.
No, I learned how to do a lot of stuff in the Girl Scouts growing up. When we were a little older, we went camping and learned how to start fires, and learned how to fish and tie knots and things like that. I don't know if I just had a progressive troop leader.
I think she's a good troop leader that was like, this is what we need to do.
I don't know if she was like an ex-Army Ranger. I don't know. I didn't ask questions, but we just went with it. So
I mean, I want to teach my 6-year-old that stuff now, because I don't know how to do it. So I want to have somebody else know how to do it in my family, so my 6-year-old can save us.
Teach you.
Yeah, you need to find like an Eagle Scout.
There we go. I'll find an Eagle Scout, and I'll be like, hey, teach my daughter shit.
Get the Boy Scout Merit Badge book and just go through it, and you'll be fine.
There you go. But Amy, thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
So once again, she is Whatever Amy, social media personality. You can go find her on Twix. You can go find her on YouTube. Go to her OnlyFans, loyal fans. Playboy, was it Playboy Centerpiece?
Centerfold.
There you go. And you can go find her there. Go subscribe to all those. Support her, because if you heard here today, she's freaking awesome, has a great personality, funny as hell. So definitely go give it a follow. If you like what you heard here today, smash that like button on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Share with your friends about the show. On X, go give us a follow. And you can go find us anywhere on social media. Just go search the Alex Cuesta Show. We are everywhere. And we'll be back next week. We have more amazing guests coming up. And once again, Amy, thanks for coming on. Dave,
thank you so much, guys. This was so fun.
Dave, maybe you'll be back next week. Maybe I won't.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right, everyone.